Hello and welcome to all of viewers in Nigeria and around the world to Midday News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Ubong Osoro. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. President Bola Tinubu has ordered the military, police and state security service to track down and apprehend the perpetrators of the Kasuwa Daji attack in Niger State, where terrorists killed more than 30 villagers and adopted scores of women and children. A statement signed by the Special Advisor to President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, says Tinubu linked the attack to terrorists fleeing from Sokoto and Zamfara states following the United States airstrike on Christmas Eve. The president also directed security agencies to urgently rescue or kidnap victims, warning that terrorists must face the full consequence of their criminal activities and actions. Chairman of the All Progressive Congress Volunteers Group in Kano, Usman Alhaji, has assured President Bola Tinubu that the state will deliver 500,000 votes in 2027 general elections. He gave the assurance during a strategic meeting with party volunteers drawn from the 44 local government areas of the state. Party stakeholders had gathered and also expressed support for ongoing efforts to persuade Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf to join the APC. Global Television correspondent Idris Jibrin reports.
These are members of the APC volunteer group led by former Secretary to the State Government, Alhaji Usman Alhaji. The meeting is part of preparation ahead of the 2027 general elections and to reinforce Kano's political unity behind President Tinubu. He says the goal is to consolidate support across the state and mobilize at least 500,000 votes for the president. He also welcomed the ongoing political consultations aimed at bringing Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf into the APC, describing it as a move in the best interest of the people.
Today, the purpose of this gathering is our annual meeting where we invite representatives from the 44 local governments of Kano State. And we get together. Today's theme and the objective is to promote unity of APC in Kano State and of course to what the chances of winning the 2027 general election. We are lucky the governor of Kano State has announced his intention to come into the APC fold. This also makes the theme today much more important. Unity and victory. So
stakeholders at the meeting emphasized the need for total loyalty and cooperation from members at all levels, ward, local government and state, to strengthen the party's structure.
I wouldn't mind if I have a job to lose for Kano people to triumph. I wouldn't mind if I have a job to lose. I wouldn't mind to lose if the governor comes on board, if Kano will remain peaceful. Kano will remain united. Kano will continue to be at the lead of Nigeria's democracy because we're the biggest democracy today. So I wouldn't mind because I am a popular leader. I'm a leader who leads by example. A leader who believes in the benefit of his own people in the system, not about my personal benefit. And this is what we learned out from our forefathers.
His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Abba Kabir Yusuf, is preparing to come to APC. As you know, so many governors they come to APC in order to have their own chances for the second term. So we are welcoming His Excellency into the party and his entrance, and inshallah
For now, all eyes are on whether former governors Abdullahi Umar Ganduje and Rabiu Kwankwaso can reunite politically to shape Kano's future direction. From Kano, Idris Jibrin, Global Television News.
Stakeholders of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, have outlined far-reaching conditions for reconciliation as consultations continue to resolve the party's lingering internal crisis. Key issues under discussion include party structure, possibility of another convention, public apologies, and other fundamental reforms seen as necessary to restore unity. Members of both Tanimu Turaki and Abdurrahman Mohammed-led faction of the National Working Committee reportedly confirmed that talks are still at the early stage, noting that options being considered include convening a National Executive Committee meeting or holding another national convention to address the disputed leadership positions. An African Democratic Congress faction has formally inaugurated its zonal states and appeal Congress committee nationwide, a move aimed at strengthening party structure and ensuring smooth conduct of congresses ahead of the 2027 general elections. The inauguration was announced in Abuja by the factional national chairman Nafiu Gombe at the press conference. Nafiu said the committees were established to oversee the planning and execution of congresses at the zonal, state, and local governments and ward levels, in strict compliance with the ADC Constitution and Electoral Act. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has assured residents that the 2026 will bring greater dividends of democracy. Reflecting on 2025, Wike described it as a very good year for the FCT. Noting significant changes across the territory, he also said while not every goal was achieved due to few setbacks, 2025 remains a landmark year, expressing hope that residents will witness even more positive transformations in 2026. The federal government has formally withdrawn the criminal defamation case it filed against Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan last year. This decision brought many considered a high-profile prosecution that attracted nationwide attention and stirred intense political debates. Certified court documents indicates that the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation filed a notice of discontinuance before the Federal High Court in Abuja Judicial Division, thereby terminating the criminal proceedings against Senator representing Kogi Central. A coordinating Minister of Health and Social Welfare, Professor Mohammed Pate, says the federal government has administered over 25 million doses of measles vaccine and 22 million yellow fever vaccinations nationwide. The minister disclosed this on his official X handle, highlighting the significant gains recorded in immunization coverage and preventive healthcare delivery across the country. Beyond measles and yellow fever, the minister said 5 million children had received the pentavalent vaccine, while over 10 million Nigerians were vaccinated with tetanus diphtheria vaccine through the nationwide diphtheria response. Governor Seyi Makinde of Oyo State has reshuffled his cabinet, relieving the secretary to the state government, Olaniyi Adeyemo, of appointments with immediate effect. This is contained in a statement by Special Advisor on Media, Solomon Olarewaju, in Ibadan, the state capital. The governor appointed Professor Musobo Babatunde as the new secretary to the state government, SSG. The Nigerian Air Force, NAF, has officially released a schedule for the Direct Short Service Commission, DSSC, 34 enlistment interviews for candidates who successfully met the shortlist. The announcement, made via the Air Force official X account, signals the next stage of the recruitment process for applicants seeking commission through the DSSC 3425 intake. The statement says the list of shortlisted candidates has been published on the Nigerian Air Force official recruitment portal, and those selected are invited to participate in the selection and enlistment interviews. The Benue State Police Public Relations Officer, DSP Edet Udeme, has confirmed the fire incident at the police mobile force facility in the state, which destroys officers and the armory. A video obtained by Global Television News shows the facility engulfed in flames with sections of the complex reduced to ashes. While the police have confirmed the incident, the exact cause of the fire is yet to be disclosed while investigations are ongoing. In the footage, a distressed voice is heard describing the scale of destruction, stating that the armory was completely consumed by the blaze. Despite prevailing security challenges and heightened fear across both urban and rural communities in Sokoto State, the state's Universal Basic Education Board, SUBEB, has directed all public primary and junior secondary schools to resume for the second term on Monday, January 5, 2026. In a statement signed by the Executive Secretary of SUBEB, Omar Tambuwal, the board assured parents and the general public that all necessary arrangements has been concluded to guarantee a smooth and orderly commencement of the new term. Tambuwal urged key stakeholders in the basic education sector, including parents and guardians, traditional and religious leaders, school-based management committees, and parent teachers association to cooperate fully to ensure pupils return to school promptly despite the prevailing security concerns. You're watching the live broadcast of Midday News. When Midday News returns, again, Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited reduces fuel price. Details coming shortly, plus business, foreign stories on the other side of this break. Please do stay with us. In business, officials of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery have said that the plant pumped 43.3 million liters of premium motor spirit petrol into the Nigerian market. The official debunks claims that the refinery had shut down its petrol processing unit for maintenance. They also noted that some marketers were only looking for excuses to increase petrol gantry price, which the refinery crashed from 829 to 699 per litre. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, OPEC+, have agreed to pause their planned oil supplies increase through the first quarter of 2026, opting to maintain current production levels amid a growing global surplus and uncertainty surrounding future output from Venezuela. The decision was reached at a brief meeting that was reportedly led by the group's dominant producers, Saudi Arabia and Russia. Delegates at the meeting said it would premature to adjust supply policy in response to recent political development in Venezuela following the reported capture of the country's leader Nicolas Maduro by the United States forces. On the foreign scene, Pope Leo has expressed deep concern over the recent United States raid in Venezuela, urging that the well-being of the Venezuelan people must take precedence over all other considerations. Speaking during his traditional blessing at the Vatican, the Pope called for an immediate end to violence and stressed the importance of respecting Venezuela's sovereignty. He said the unfolding situation should lead to justice and peace and not further instability. United States President Donald Trump has threatened his Colombian counterpart Gustavo Petro following Washington's adoption of Venezuelan leader and said he believed the government in Cuba too was likely to fall too. Trump's warning comes despite a growing outcry over the present adoption of Nicolas Maduro, with Brazil's Chile, Colombia, Mexico, Uruguay, and Spain condemning the United States' action as the dangerous precedent for peace and regional security. Trump told reporters aboard Air Force One that Colombia and Venezuela were, in his words, very sick, noting that the government in Bogota was run by a sick man who likes making cocaine and selling it to the United States. Venezuela's Supreme Court has appointed Vice President Delcy Rodriguez as interim president following the capture of President Nicolas Maduro by the U.S. forces. The court said Rodriguez will assume executive power to guarantee administrative continuity and national defense amid the president's forced absence. Mukhtar Kasim has details.
The appointment of an interim president in Venezuela followed the capture of President Nicolas Maduro, who was flown to the United States amid U.S. airstrikes in Caracas. U.S. President Donald Trump announced the operation and outlined plans for a temporary U.S. administration of the country, while Venezuela declared a state of national emergency. Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were captured in Caracas on Saturday and transported to the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York. They face charges related to drug trafficking, which Maduro has long denied. Venezuelan authorities immediately declared a state of national emergency, condemning the strike as military aggression and demanding proof of life for the president and his wife. Eyewitnesses in Caracas reported explosions, smoke.
Protective gear in the way he is being held by the agent there.
Duro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice.
Trump indicated that U.S. oil companies would repair Venezuela's infrastructure and generate revenue for the country, fueling international debate over the true motives behind the intervention.
We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition.
The capture of Maduro marks a historic escalation in United States-Venezuela tensions, with the world divided over the legality and ethics of the strike. Venezuelans remain in shock. International bodies are calling for restraint, and Trump's statement continues to dominate the political narrative. As Maduro sits in U.S. custody, the fate of Venezuela's leadership and future stability hangs in the balance, while the international community closely monitors each development. Mukhtar Qasim, reporting for Global Television News.
In sports, Algeria continued a quest for a fourth African Cup of Nations title when they faced Mozambique in the round of 16 on Monday at the First Stadium today. Victory will secure the Super Eagles' 12th quarter-final appearance, extending their record for last 8 finishes ahead of Egypt, while Mozambique will make their debut at the stage after reaching the knockout phase for the first time in 6 attempts. The two sides have met 5 times across all competitions, with Nigeria undefeated against the Mambas, winning 4 and drawing 1. Cameroon booked a quarter-final meeting with host Morocco at the African Cup of Nations after both sides edged through contrasting rounds of 16 encounter. The indomitable Lions sealed their place in the last 8 with a 2-1 victory over South Africa, ending a 7-match winless run against Bafana in the process. Cameroon struggled to impose itself in the final third for much of the opening period, but struck decisively in the 34th minute. A corner was only partially cleared off, and a series of deflections, the ball fell kindly for Junior Tachomado, who kept his composure and called home his first international goal from close range. Victoria Plessin striker Rafael Dorosime is on the verge of sealing a move to Serie A strugglers Pisa. According to Sky Sports Italia, Pisa have agreed a deal worth €9 million plus a further €2 million in performance-related add-ons with Victoria Plessin for the Nigerian. Dorosime has been impressive for Plessin this season. And that's it on Midday News. A quick reminder, Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly do follow us across all social media platforms down showing your screen using @Global TVNG. I am Ubong Musoro. Bye for now.